Jim, our next question sent via the Cult of Cornette Facebook group was sent in by John Viviani. You spent a lot of time in the territories on the road. As a car enthusiast as well as a wrestling fan, I was wondering what car you and the Midnights used, or if there was a favorite type of car the boys in general like to rent or own.
What I've talked about earlier in the program, some of the cars that I've had and we had, and no, our cars were always beat to shit because we're going up and down the roads in Louisiana or North Carolina or whatever. I'll tell you what, when we started working for Crockett and started flying more, the cars that we liked to rent in 85, 86, 87, that the Hertz company had, and I had the Hertz Gold Card, they had these Mercuries and T-Birds that were turbos, and they were sporty little things. And we used to like to try to rent those whenever possible. Now, if it was Flair and the Horsemen or the big baby faces or whatever, they would always, rent a Lincoln Continental or something like that. But that was an upcharge and it was harder to get availability. We would always, me and the Midnight would always get the full-size 4-door. And again, with Hertz, that was usually the T-Birds or the Ford Taurus or something like that. And that's what we would rent. But no, Dennis Condrey at one point had his entire bank account in his driveway with his Corvette and the other, he liked cars, but we wouldn't take those things on the fucking road because it would beat him up. And me and Bobby always had whatever the cheapest thing was we could find that we could make the trips in. That the Ford Taurus that I bought in 1990, I had that for 7 years until I got it for $12,000 from a car dealership over here in Shelbyville. And I had that for 7 years until I was in Connecticut, and it had like almost 300,000 miles on it. And Tony Rumble, his cousin, owned a Toyota dealership in Connecticut, and I got a Camry. Exciting times.
Sad ending to the story there, but thank you for the question. Was there a favorite?
No,
go ahead.
The Camry lasted it was up into, I think it was 265,000 or something like that. And then it was so beat up that I had it till I was in OVW. So we didn't auction it, but we raffled it off. People bought raffle tickets for $1, and I made 220 something bucks on it.
Beyond the Midnight Express, what was considered the best car just to handle the road and the miles that you wouldn't mind driving amongst the other wrestlers?
Well, I don't think it had anything to do with how it fucking handled on the road or drive the mileage or whatever. It had to do with how the guys liked it and how it looked. Because remember, everybody says when they do interviews about the old Crockett days that the parking lot there at the office on Briar Bend looked like a Mercedes and a BMW dealership.
But were they driving those to the shows, or were they just driving it? Was that their home car?
Yeah, a lot of them were driving them to the fucking shows. And that Magnum and Dusty were coming back from Greenville in that fucking Porsche that was it was the most expensive kind of Porsche you could buy. And that's, and it didn't take water and slick roads well, unfortunately. But yeah, all those expensive fucking cars. Remember the time Flair wanted me to drive was it a Rolls Royce? What the fuck was it? No, it wasn't a Rolls Royce because it was a foreign car, but it was a $100,000 car in 1989. And he wanted me to drive it back from Atlanta to Charlotte for him because he was going to stay over and fly. I took it to a gas station on the outskirts of Atlanta to fill it up. And it took me 30 minutes to figure out how to open the goddamn thing to the gas compartment. Right? It was this thing back before it was a common thing. It had heated seats and individual air conditioning and all these bells and whistles. And I'm looking around in the goddamn glove compartment for the manual to try to find where the release is to open the goddamn gas thing. And I'm standing there at midnight On the outskirts of Atlanta off I-85 on the way to Charlotte, it was $100,000 car, and I can't fucking figure out how to put the gas in it. People are looking at me. So they had all kinds of taste in cars. Well, mine, whatever was cheapest, I didn't care if people goddamn tarred and feathered it.